Hello friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this tag video. I'm so excited to be doing this today. I believe this tag was created by ADHDer Reads and Writes, not entirely with the intention of it being a tag, just to make a fun Booktube Valentine's Day video, and then Bookworm Adventure Girl made it into a tag video and then tagged the mild rumpus who tagged me. So thank you to you all, and I will link all of those channels below so that you can have a peruse. They are great Booktube channels. Oh, and I forgot to do my usual little intro. Welcome back or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Max, my pronouns are they, them, and here I make videos about books and reading and my experience as an autistic ADHDer. If you haven't already, please feel free to grab yourself a cosy cuppa and let's get into the books. Cheers! So these questions for this tag are divided up into different book tropes. Romance book tropes, because it's Valentine's Day tag. So the first one is Be Mine, and that's queer romances. So I've got two on my list. I think I would say that both of these are romantasy, so the romance isn't the entire focus of the plot. The first one being The Binding by Bridget Collins. Oh my gosh, this could be in the next category as well, and you'll hear why in a minute, but this was an absolutely gorgeous book, with the romance being a very surprising part. It almost came out of nowhere in a way that made me love it more, and I genuinely cannot wait to reread this. I'm so excited. Also, just to say, something that I love is a good font, and this font is just so good. It's such a satisfying font. I'm gonna read a little bit of the blurb because I feel like I won't do the concept of this book justice if I try to explain it myself. So it says, imagine you could erase your grief. Imagine you could forget your pain. Imagine you could hide a secret forever. Emmett Farmer is working in the fields when a letter arrives summoning him to begin an apprenticeship. He will work for a bookbinder, a vocation that arouses fear, superstition and prejudice, but neither he nor his parents can afford to refuse. He will learn to handcraft beautiful volumes, and within each he will capture something unique and extraordinary, a memory. If there's something you want to forget, he can help. If there's something you need to erase, he can assist. Your past will be stored safely in a book, and you will never remember your secret, however terrible. So really exceptional concept, exceptionally executed, with an unsuspecting romance. Loved it. And my next book in this category I don't actually have with me because my physical copy is in my storage in France, but it is Wild and Wicked Things by Francesca May. This is one of those books where I feel like it's just the exact book that if I could imagine up a book to read that my soul would just want, this is the book. It's fantasy, it's witchy, there's a sapphic romance, it's intriguing, it's mysterious, it's gripping, and I don't hear anyone talking about it. Let's sip. Goodreads blurb says, in the aftermath of World War I, a naive woman is swept into a glittering world filled with dark magic, romance and murder in this lush and decadent debut. On Crow Island, people whisper, real magic lurks just below the surface. Neither real magic nor faux magic interests Annie Mason, not after it stole her future. She's only on the island to settle her late father's estate and hopefully reconnect with her long-absent best friend Beatrice, who fled their dreary lives for a more glamorous one. Yet Crow Island is brimming with temptation, and the biggest one may be her enigmatic new neighbour. I've heard it described as like a sapphic Great Gatsby, and it definitely has that vibe, but also, because it's kind of witchy too, it definitely crosses a lot more into fantasy than Great Gatsby does, but it's such an atmospheric read, definitely recommend. So our next category is Meet Cute, which is a book you want to read again for the first time, and I have two books for this, kind of. So, firstly, we have Impossible Creatures by Catherine Rundell. And if you've watched any of my videos, this may not be a surprise to you because I love Catherine Rundell. I read this in January, I think, and it was just such a fun read. It's such a heartwarming story. It's such a tale of found family and love and loss and adventure. And if you like any of those things, or if that sounds good to you, I would definitely encourage you to read this. It's just beautiful. The inside cover says, "On the day Christopher Forrester rescues a drowning baby griffin from a hidden lake, his life changes forever. The adventure that awaits him will take him to the archipelago, a secret unmapped cluster of islands where all the creatures of myth still live side by side with humans. The adventure also brings him Mal, a girl on the run with whom he will transform the destiny of the world." It's just so lovely, and it's such an immersive world, but also Catherine Rundell does characters so well that you care so much about them. It's wonderful, and I definitely wish I could read it again for the first time. The next book I've chosen for this category is kind of cheating a little bit, but that is Anne Patchett's Tom Lake. Oh my gosh, I heard quite a bit about this book recently because the audiobook is read by Meryl Streep, and obviously people were going crazy for that. But I'm so surprised at how much I'm loving Anne Patchett. I never expected to love this book this much, and I haven't finished it yet. And that's why it's controversial for this category, because I am still reading it for the first time. I'm on page 215 of 309, and I can't believe I have less than 100 pages left. I'm savouring it as much as I possibly can. This is the longest I've taken over a book in a good while. I started it a week ago today, and it's just so wonderful. People are right about Meryl Streep's reading of the audiobook, they really are. She is obviously flipping fantastic. And I knew that would be the case, obviously it's Meryl Streep. But what I wasn't expecting was for the writing to be this beautiful and authentic and real and gritty, but also lyrical. Oh my gosh. I already know that when I've finished this, I will wish that I could read it for the first time again, so that's why it's here. Hello friends, this is Editing Max here, coming in to tell you a little bit about Tom Lake, because I realised in editing this video that as much as I raved about it, I told you nothing about what it was actually about. And I can also say that from the future, I have now finished this book, and I definitely wish I could read it again for the first time. So Goodreads says, "In this beautiful and moving novel about family, love and growing up, Anne Patchett once again proves herself as one of America's finest writers. In the spring of 2020, Lara's 3 daughters return to the family orchard in northern Michigan. While picking cherries, they beg their mother to tell them the story of Peter Duke, a famous actor with whom she shared both a stage and a romance years before at a theatre company called Tom Lake. As Lara recalls the past, her daughters examine their own lives and relationship with their mother, and are forced to reconsider the world and everything they thought they knew." It was a 6-star read for me, and I would definitely recommend both Anne Patchett's novel and Meryl Streep reading the audiobook. Okay, next we have Friendzone. Hyped books that are just okay for me. Again, neither of these books I have with me because they are in my storage in France, but the first one I'm going to talk about is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. McQuiston, not McQuiston. So I was really excited about this book because it's a sapphic romance, and I'm just generally enthused about any kind of sapphic romance because good ones are hard to find. And this was quite hyped. Obviously people know Casey McQuiston from Red, White and Royal Blue, and that was so hyped, and obviously they've made a TV series out of it which has done really well. But One Last Stop for me was, I think it was just because there wasn't enough plot for my liking. And although the concept was really intriguing because it's about this young woman who is trapped on a subway and stuck in time, and basically she lives every day of her life stuck in time in the subway train, but she's actually from like the 70s or something. It's a really interesting concept, strange like time travel-y weirdness, which usually I would really enjoy, and I did enjoy that aspect of it. I do enjoy when a book is like set in this world but has a strange not of this world twist to it. So that was good about it. But there just wasn't enough plot for me, and it was drawn out too long for it to not have enough plot. And the next one I want to talk about in this category is The Pumpkin Cafe by Laurie Gilmore. Please tell me that's not her real name. Is that really her real name? This was okay. Very hyped. It's obviously so much like Gilmore Girls that people jumped all over it. And I love Gilmore Girls, so obviously I was intrigued. And I also love books that very much lean into the cozy ambiance. So I thought I would be obsessed with this, but I was not obsessed. It was an enjoyable read, I would say. Up until it got to the really spicy parts towards the end, I did not enjoy that very much. But yeah, it was kind of just compared to what I was expecting. Okay, next category is Enemies to Lovers, books you didn't think you'd like but ended up loving. I just have one book for this because I don't tend to read books that I don't think I'll like. But that is Suddenly a Murder by Lauren Munoz. I have talked about this on my channel before, I think in my January wrap up. This was so unexpectedly good. I picked this up because it was really cheap, I think in the works, and I was kind of in the mood for some fun, cozy murder mystery vibes, and this gave that. It's about a group of teens who graduate high school and decide that they're going to go off to this mansion on this island that's very remote and they don't have any signal, and they're acting out this like 1920s vibe, so they're all in costume all the time. They're not allowed to use their phones and someone gets murdered. It's such a juicy plot. There's a quote review on the back from Kathleen Glasgow, who wrote The Agathas. And she says, delicious, twisty and clever, and that is exactly this book. 100% recommend if you enjoy a cozy murder mystery. And the final category is The Breakup, books you DNF'd. So, as you may know if you watched my January wrap up, I DNF'd The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. It really disappointed me to have to DNF this book, and that is because I have a sentimental attachment to this book because my great-grandparents bought it for me when I was 11, both of whom have now passed. But I've wanted for a long time to reread this because, as I've mentioned, and as you'll know if you've watched any of my videos because I talk about it all the time, I am autistic and I'm always looking for more autistic representation in books that's actually accurate and not offensive or infantilizing or super generalized or a very bad stereotype. And unfortunately, that's what this was. This is about a kid who is autistic who comes across a dead dog and decides to investigate who killed this dog. And I got to less than 100 pages and just couldn't continue reading because it was making me cringe so much. I actually would go as far as to say that I really don't think people should be reading this book at all because it perpetuates harmful stereotypes about autistic people. So yeah, very disappointing, I will say no more. Next though is an interesting one because I didn't actually DNF this book, but in hindsight I kind of wish I had. And that is The Unsinkable Greta James by Jennifer E. Smith. This is another one that just didn't have enough plot for me. It was very relationship driven about Greta James and her relationship with her father, and I was just bored. I was just bored, and I carried on because I thought, oh, maybe things will change or maybe it will have a lovely ending or something like that, and it just didn't redeem itself really. So I kind of wish I had DNF'd. But yeah, that's my Valentine's Day tag. Thank you to the Mild Rumpus for tagging me. There are a few folks that I would love to tag, and they are Breeds with Sugar, The Left-Handed Reader, Books to Ashes, The Unhinged Woman Book Club, and Sarah Hafid. They are all awesome booktubers with varying subscriber counts, so please go and check them out. I'll link them all down below. Thank you so much for joining me for this lovely book tag. Please subscribe if you haven't already and you're enjoying my videos. It really helps me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!